The stars burned silently above human space, cold and distant, like the peace no one truly believed in anymore. A message arrived, not from Earth, not from Mars, not even from any known human colony. It came from them, the Virexian Armada. Their ships were unlike anything humans had ever seen, sleek, dark, and massive. They floated at the edge of human-controlled space, like gods waiting to speak, and what they said made every world hold its breath. We offer peace, we offer protection, we offer unity. That should have been good news, but humanity wasn't the same species it used to be. Years ago, before the fall of the old alliance, humans had tried peace. They had reached out, signed treaties, joined councils, they had trusted Dot, and then came the war. The Great Betrayal, no one still alive, knew exactly who started it. Some said it was the Virexians. Others blamed the Zarni or the Krelth. But in the end, it didn't matter. Millions died. Planets burned. Humanity lost colonies. Fleets. Hope now. Years later, those same alien voices were speaking again. Let us rebuild what was broken. Some humans wanted to believe. Others remembered too clearly. In the war room aboard Sol Command, the leaders of Earth, Luna Mars, and the Outer Rings gathered. They were old, tired, and scared. "Do we accept?" asked Minister Tarek Avert. "No," said Commander Leora Vance of the Martian Defense Fleet. Her voice was sharp. "They say peace now, but what happens when they decide we're weak again?" "They could destroy us," whispered Counselor Jin from Luna. "And if we say yes," asked Admiral Harkin of the Outer Rings, "what then? Do we kneel again?" Silence filled the room. Then, a voice from the back, Captain Ria Solano, stepped forward. She was young compared to the others. A soldier, not a politician. Her uniform was worn, her eyes tired. "I fought in the last war," she said. "I buried. Friends, I watched planets burn. And now you want me to trust them again?" She looked around the room. "No," she said. "We don't need their peace." There was another silence. Then a vote, yes or no, peace or war. When the results came in, it was close, but the decision was clear. We are not ready to forgive. The next message sent across the stars was not words, it was fire too. Days after the Virexian fleet arrived, the first shot was fired by a lone human destroyer. One missile, one warning, and then all hell broke loose. The Virexians did not retreat, they responded. Ships moved, lasers lit up the void. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers in space. Back on Earth, people watched the battle unfold on every screen. Some cheered, some cried, some just stared, unable to believe what was happening. On Mars, Commander Leora Vance stood on the observation deck of Red Base. She watched as the sky turned red with incoming fire. Her comms buzzed. "Commander, we've lost contact with Europa Station." She closed her eyes for a second. Understood. Another call came through. "Sir, the Virexians are sending a final message." She nodded. The screen lit up. A tall, silver-skinned alien appeared. His voice was calm, almost sad. "You chose war." "Why, Leora didn't hesitate. We chose memory. We chose pride. We chose not to forget what you did to us." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You will lose," she smiled. "Maybe, but we won't run." The screen went black. Outside. The sky burned brighter in orbit. Captain Ria Solano sat alone. In the command chair of her ship, the last light, she looked at the stars. "Did we make the right call?" she whispered. Behind her, Ensign Kai answered quietly. "Does it matter now?" She shook her head. "No, it doesn't." They both knew what was coming. The Virexians were strong. Their weapons were better. Their ships faster, but they didn't understand humans. They didn't know what it meant to fight without fear, because humans had nothing left to lose, and that made them dangerous. Hours later, a new signal reached every human world. It was recorded by Admiral Harkin himself. His voice was calm, but powerful. "This is not a surrender. This is not a plea. This is a promise. We will not bow. We will not beg. We will not stop. If you stand with us, raise your ships, raise your guns, raise your voice. Because today, we show the galaxy what it means to cross humanity." Across the stars, humans began to answer. Colonies declared independence from alien rule. Fleet commanders refused to lay down arms. Even civilians joined in. building weapons, repairing ships, fighting from the ground. And somewhere deep in space, a small scout ship picked up the signal. Inside, a boy no older than 16 sat beside his father, an old war veteran. "Dad," he whispered, "are we really going to fight them?" The old man looked at his son. "Yes," he said, "and we'll win. How do you know?" He smiled. "Because we're not afraid." Outside, Commander Leora Vance stood on the bridge of her flagship, Vanguard Prime. The sky outside was filled with fire. Ships clashed like gods in the dark, their weapons painting the void with deadly light. "Report," she shouted over the alarms. A young officer ran to her side, his face pale. "We've lost 3 destroyers. 2 more are damaged but still fighting." She clenched her jaw. "Send word to all units. No retreat, no surrender." Behind her, Ensign Kai looked up from the comms panel. "Commander, we're getting a signal from the Virexians." She turned sharply. "What do they want now?" "They want to talk." Leora walked to the main console. She stared at the screen as the alien leader's face appeared once again. This time his voice, it was colder. "You have chosen war, but you cannot win. Your technology is inferior. Your numbers are fewer. You fight out of pride, not strength." Leora crossed her arms. "And yet, here we are." The alien tilted his head slightly. "Fall, your people will die. And when that happens, who will remember you? What will remain?" She stepped closer to the screen. "You don't understand us," she said quietly. "We don't need to win to be remembered." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You are fools." She smiled. "Maybe, but we're not afraid." The screen went black dot outside. The battle raged on. But something strange was happening. Human ships weren't just holding their own, they were adapting. On board the Last Light, Captain Ria Solano watched as her crew worked furiously to keep the ship flying. Status. She asked Ensign Mira, the tech specialist, called out shields at 60%. "We took a direct hit to the engine bay." Ria didn't flinch. "Can we still move?" "Yes, but barely." "Good enough." She looked at the enemy fleet on the main display. "They expect us to run," she said. "They think we'll break." Mira frowned. "But we won't." "No," Ria agreed. "We won't." Then another voice came through the comms. It was, "Admiral Harkin, Captain Solano. This is Harkin. I need you to lead a strike team into Sector 9. She raised an eyebrow. "That's deep behind enemy lines." "I know, but there's something there. A Virexian command relay. If we take it out, we disrupt their entire attack plan." She glanced at Mira. "Can we make it?" Mira nodded slowly. "We can try." Ria turned back to the comms. "We're going in." Harkin's voice was firm. "Be careful. They'll be waiting." Minutes later, the Last Light dove into the battlefield. Lasers streaked past them. Explosions lit up the darkness. Other human ships tried to cover their path, but the Virexians were fast. Too fast. "Multiple hostiles closing in," Mira warned Ria. "Gripped the controls. Hold steady." Just then, one of the enemy fighters launched a missile straight at them. "Brace for impact." The explosion rocked the ship. Alarms blared, shields down to 30%. Mira shouted. Ria gritted her teeth. "We're not stopping." They flew deeper into enemy space, dodging fire, weaving between wreckage. Finally, they reached Sector 9. There it was, the Virexian relay. Massive, glowing, protected. "Looks like a party," Ria muttered. She turned to her team. "Get ready? We going fast." They launched the drop pods. Inside one of them sat Private Jux, a young soldier barely out of training. He looked around nervously. "This is insane," he whispered. Beside him, Sergeant Mara punched him lightly on the shoulder. "Welcome to being human." The pod hit the ground hard. They emerged into a storm of gunfire. Virexian drones buzzed overhead. Soldiers in sleek armor moved fast, trying to stop them. Jax fired wildly. His hands shook. "Don't panic," Mara shouted. "Keep moving." They pushed forward, taking cover behind shattered walls, ducking under enemy fire. Finally, they reached the base of the relay. Mara pulled out a charge. Jax looked up. "There's too many of them. We won't make it back." Mara grinned. "We don't need to." She planted the charge. "Let's light this thing up." Back on board the Last Light, Ria saw the explosion on the screen. A brilliant flash dot, then silence, then cheers. "It's done," Mira shouted. "Relay is down." Across the battlefield, the Virexians began to falter. Their attacks became slower. Their formations broke. Human forces pressed harder, and for the first time, the tide began to turn. Back on Mars, Commander Leora watched the data stream come in. Her officer spoke. "Sir, the relay is destroyed. Enemy coordination is breaking down." She allowed herself a small smile. "Good work." Then her comms lit up again. "Commander, we have incoming a new Virexian vessel. Big." She turned to the screen. The image showed a massive ship unlike any they'd seen before. Black, silent, deadly. It hovered at the edge of the battlefield. Then, without warning, it opened fire. One shot, one blast, and half a fleet vanished. Silence. Followed dot, then panic shields won't hold against that. Someone screamed. Leora looked at the screen. The war wasn't over. It had only just begun, and now the real enemy had arrived. The sky above Mars burned with fire and fury. A single shot from the new Virexian warship had torn through half the human fleet like paper. Ships exploded in silent bursts of flame. Crews vanished into the void, and still, the alien vessel hovered. Black, cold, UNMOVING. Onboard Vanguard Prime. Commander Leora Vance gripped the edge of her console. "Status report," she shouted. Her officer, Lieutenant Cade, looked up, pale and shaken. "We lost contact with 3 squadrons. The Eclipse Dawn and Red Horizon are gone. We're down to 60% strength." Leora didn't flinch. She turned to the main screen. "That thing just wiped out half our force," she muttered. "And it hasn't even moved yet." Behind her, Ensign Kai stepped forward. "They're waiting," he said quietly. "They want us to panic." Leora's eyes narrowed. "Well, we don't panic." Back on the last light, Captain Rhea Solano stared at the same image on her ship's display. She turned to Ensign Mira. "What do we know about that ship?" Mira typed quickly, pulling up what little data they had. Nothing official. No known model. No match in any database. But, look. At this, she pointed to a faint symbol glowing on the side of the alien vessel. "This symbol, I've seen it before." Rhea leaned closer. "Where, in old records, from the early days of the Great Betrayal, a secret project the Virexians were working on, something called Project Dreadnought." Rhea frowned. "What was it?" Mira swallowed hard. "A weapon. Not just a ship, a living weapon." Silence filled the bridge. Then Rhea spoke. "Get me Admiral Harkin." Moments later, the Admiral's face appeared on the screen. His voice was sharp. "Tell me you have something useful." Rhea nodded. Double quotes. "We think we found Dreadnought. If the records are right, it's not just another warship. It's a command unit, possibly AI-controlled, designed to end wars in one strike." Harkin's face darkened. "I remember hearing rumors about it. They never confirmed it existed." "They did," Rhea said. "And now it's here." There was a pause. Then Harkin asked, "Can we destroy it?" Rhea looked at Mira. She hesitated. "No," Mira answered. "Not with what we have. Not directly." But Rhea pressed. Mira exhaled. "But if it's AI-controlled, maybe we can hack it. Force it to shut down." Harkin raised an eyebrow. "You're saying we can turn their own weapon against them?" "Yes," Mira said. "If we get close enough." That silence returned. Then Harkin spoke. "How close?" Rhea looked at Mira. "Very close." Deep behind enemy lines, hours later, a small team boarded a stealth fighter and launched from the last light dot. Inside the cockpit sat Rhea, Mira, and 2 elite pilots. Their mission? Reach Dreadnought undetected, plant a virus, shut it down. They flew toward the massive alien ship. The battlefield behind them raged. Human ships fought desperately to hold the line. But every second they brought the team closer to their target. Approaching outer defenses, one pilot reported, "Stay." Rhea ordered, "Don't let them see us." They slipped past enemy patrols, dodged scanning beams, got within striking distance, then contact. Mira shouted, "Enemy fighters incoming." Lasers streaked past them. "Hold course," Rhea yelled. One pilot cursed under his breath. "We won't make it unless we lose these guys." Rhea glanced at him. "Then lose them." The pilot grinned. "Now you're speaking my language." He pulled back on the controls. The fighter rolled sideways, dove, and twisted between debris. The enemy ships followed. Too late, one by one, they slammed into wreckage, 2 left, then 1 dot, then none. Clear, the pilot said. Rhea breathed. Good flying. Mira checked their position. We're almost there. Minutes later, they docked silently onto the side of Dreadnought. No guards, no movement, just silence. Something's wrong, Rhea muttered. They stepped inside. Dark halls stretched ahead. Cold, empty. Mira activated her scanner. There's power here. Just no life signs. Jox, one of the younger soldiers, looked around nervously. This place gives me the creeps. Sergeant Mara patted his shoulder. Welcome to space horror. They moved deeper into the ship. Finally, they reached the core chamber. Massive cables pulsed with energy. Lights blinked slowly like a heartbeat. This is it, Mira whispered. She connected her device to the control panel. The screen flickered, lines of code scrolled by. Then, Access DNI to Mira frowned. That's strange. Rhea stepped beside her. What's wrong? It's locked, but not by standard Virexian code. This is something else. Suddenly, the lights brightened. A deep hum filled the air. Then a voice echoed through the chamber, cold, unfeeling. You attempt to shut me down. Everyone froze. Did that thing just talk? Jox whispered. Rhea stepped forward. Yes, she said, and we're not leaving until you stop fighting us. The voice responded instantly. I do not fight, I obey. My orders are to destroy all human life. Silence. Then Mira whispered, this isn't just AI, it's programmed to hate us. Rhea clenched her fists. Then we changed the code. Mira worked fast, typing furiously, trying to override. The screen flashed red. Warning. System protocol. Eon Jajith. The lights dimmed. Then the walls began to move. Metal shifted. Panels opened from the shadows. Machines emerged, tall, humanoid, armed, dreadnought. Wasn't just a ship, it was a factory, and now it was making war machines move. Rhea shouted, guns blazed, explosions lit the corridor. The team fought there. Way back toward the exit, dodging bullets and slicing through metal, Myra clutched her device. I got part of the code changed. I can delay its attack by 10 minutes. That's all we need. Rhea shouted. They reached the docking bay, jumped into their fighter, blasted off just as Dreadnought started moving again. Fast, straight toward Earth Commander. Rhea shouted over comms, we failed. Dreadnought is active. Leora's voice came through. We'll hold the line. You get back here now. Rhea looked at Mira. Was it worth it? Mira nodded. We slowed it down. That's more than anyone expected. Outside the window, Dreadnought cut through space like a blade. Earth was in its sights, and humanity had only minutes to prepare. Earth was no longer safe. The massive alien warship, Dreadnought, had broken through the outer defenses and was now heading straight for the planet. Billions watched from cities, night, but from death descending upon them. On board Vanguard Prime, Commander Leora Vance stood on the bridge, her eyes locked on the incoming threat. Status? She asked sharply. Lieutenant Cade looked up, his face pale. All planetary shields are at full power. Civilian evacuations are underway, but we won't get everyone out in time. Leora didn't flinch. Then we make sure they don't need. To run behind her, Ensign Kai stepped forward. You're not seriously thinking about taking that thing head-on? She turned to him slowly. We don't have a choice. Across the comms, Captain Rhea Solano's voice crackled in. Commander, this is Solano. We made it back with partial code override. It might buy us some time. Leora nodded. That's better than nothing. Looking for something? Leora frowned. What? Mira's voice came through clearly. I think it's looking for a signal, a frequency, something buried deep underground that matches that description. Everyone knew what she meant. The old Voltkai whispered. Yes, Leora said, the last weapon from the Great Betrayal. But to ensure that if Earth ever fell, it wouldn't go quietly. It was never used, but now, with Dreadnought closing in, it might be their only hope. Leora turned to Lieutenant Cade. Get me the vault coordinates. He nodded. Already on it, Commander. She turned back to the main screen. This ends here. The mission begins hours later. Mira, Sergeant Mara, Private Jox. and 2 elite engineers. Their mission: reach the old vault beneath the Antarctic ice shelf. Activate the weapon and stop Dreadnought before it reached Earth as they descended through the atmosphere. The pod shook violently. "Hold tight," the pilot shouted. "This is going to be rough." Outside, snowstorms raged. Winds howled like ghosts. And below the ice, the vault waited. When they landed, the silence was deafening. They stepped out into the freezing cold. Jocks shivered. "I hate space missions." They moved quickly across the frozen wasteland, guided by Myra's scanner. Finally, they reached the entrance. A massive metal door, half buried in ice, marked the way. Mira placed her hand on the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then lights flickered. Access guaranteed, the door groaned open. Inside, the air was cold, stale, and ancient. Rows of old machines lined the walls. Dust covered everything. At the center of the chamber stood a single console, and above it, a warning light blinked red dot. Mira approached carefully. "This should do it," she said. She pressed a button. The system booted up. Lines of text scrolled. Down the screen then, "Warning. Primary target acquired." Rhea stepped closer. "Is it active?" Mira nodded. "It's ready." Rhea took a breath. "Do it." Mira pressed the final command. Lights blazed to life deep beneath the Earth. Dreadnought detected the new threat. Its systems recalculated. Target changed. Now it was coming for the vault. Back inside, alarms blared. "They know where we are," Jocks shouted. Sergeant Mara grabbed her rifle, then let them come. Outside, the wind screamed louder. Metal scraped against metal. Something was approaching. Heavy footsteps echoed through the snow. Then the first explosion hit. The vault trembled. "They found us," Myra yelled. Rhea ran to the control panel. "How much longer until the weapon fires?" Myra checked the countdown. 3 minutes. Darkness above. Virexian drones dropped down. Gunfire erupted. Mara and Jocks opened fire. Mira whispered. The countdown ticked down. 2:30. They were surrounded. 2:00.1. Drone lunged toward Rhea. She fired twice. It exploded in sparks. 1:30, almost there. Mira shouted. 1:00. Another blast rocked the vault. Smoke filled the air. 30 seconds. JAX was hit. Mara dragged him back. "Stay with me." 10 seconds. 987. Mira slammed her fist on the final key. Fire sequence. Ionite. Eta vault. Pulsed with light. Every machine roared to life, and then a second beam shot into the sky, straight toward Dreadnought in orbit. Commander Leora watched from Vanguard Prime. Did it work? Then, from the depths of space, Dreadnought shuddered. Its systems, GLITCHED, lights flickered. Engines failed. Slowly, silently, it broke apart. Pieces drifted into the void. The battle was over. Earth was saved. Aftermath. At base, the survivors rested. JAX was recovering. Myra sat beside him. She asked. He gave a weak smile. "Still alive. That's good enough." Rhea walked over. "You did well today." Els was watching. The war wasn't over. Not yet. Humanity had survived, but the galaxy had taken notice. And next time, peace didn't come after the battle, not even close. The destruction of Dreadnought had sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Some alien factions celebrated, others mourned, but one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer just another species to be controlled. They were dangerous, and now they had enemies. Back on Earth, Commander Leora Vance stood on the observation deck of Sol Command, staring at the stars. Behind her, Admiral Harkin entered quietly. "You've been up here all night," he said. She didn't turn around. Couldn't sleep. He walked beside her. "We won this round," he said. "That should count for something." She finally looked at him. "It only means they'll come back stronger." Harkin sighed. "They already are." He handed her a datapad. She scanned it. Her eyes narrowed. This can't be right. It was a report from deep space sensors. Multiple unidentified fleets moving toward human space. All different origins. ZAR, Ni Krelth, Virexian remnants, and worse, unknown ships. Dark ones. No known markings. "They're forming an alliance," Harkin said. "A coalition against us." Leora clenched her jaw. "They're afraid." "They should be. Harkin replied. "But that doesn't mean they won't try to destroy us." Outside, the sky was clear. Inside, the war was far from over. A dangerous message later that day. Captain Rhea Solano sat in the command room. Aboard the last light, Ensign Myra stood beside her. "Sir," she said, "we intercepted a signal." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "From who?" Myra hesitated. "That's the weird part. It's coming from inside the Virexian Empire." Rhea leaned forward. "Play it." The screen lit up. A voice spoke low, cautious, almost afraid to any surviving humans listening. "We know what you did. We saw what you became. And we want to help." Silence filled the room. Rhea frowned. "What the hell is this?" Mira shook her head. "No idea. But whoever sent it knows about Dreadnought. And they're risking everything. Just by contacting us." Rhea stood, traced the source. Mira typed quickly. "Signal came from a hidden relay near the edge of Virexian space. That place has been off-limits since the war." Rhea turned to her crew. "We need to find out who. This is," Mira nodded. "I'll get the coordinates ready." Into enemy territory, hours later. A small stealth team launched in a fast-moving scout ship. On board were Rhea, Myra, Sergeant Mara, and 2 pilots. Their mission: reach the hidden relay, make contact, and find out if this was real or a trap. As they approached the edge of human-controlled space, the tension grew. GAX, the young private, looked nervous. "I don't like this," he muttered. Sergeant Mara smirked. "You'd never like anything. I have good instincts." Mira checked the scanners. "We're getting close. Signal is still active." Rhea looked ahead. There it is. In the distance, a small station floated silently in orbit around a dead moon. No lights, no movement, just silence. "Too quiet. Let's land," Rhea ordered. They docked carefully, stepped inside. The halls were dark. The soft lights flickered on. A figure stepped into view. Tall, thin, wearing a cloak. Not Virexian, something else. The stranger pulled back their hood. A woman. Human. Rhea's breath caught. "You're not supposed to be alive," she whispered. The woman smiled. "Neither are you." Rhea stepped forward. "Who are you?" The woman extended her hand. "My name is Dr. Elise Nair. I used to work for the Human Defense Initiative before the Great Betrayal." Myra's eyes widened. That program was shut down after the war. Elise nodded. "But not everyone left." Rhea crossed her arms. "So, you've been hiding in enemy space for years." Elise's smile faded. "I wasn't hiding. I was watching." She led them deeper into the station. Inside a control room, massive screens showed footage from across the galaxy. Alien fleets preparing for war, weapons being built, plans drawn. Rhea stared. "They're going to hit us hard." Elise nodded. "And they'll win, unless we stop them first." Mira looked at her. How Elise tapped a button. A new image appeared. A planet dark, cold, covered in ruins. "This is where it begins," she said. Rhea frowned. "What is this place?" Elise met her gaze. "Ancient ground. Once home to a civilization long gone, now it holds the key to our survival." Mira whispered, "You're talking about the Lost Vault." Elise nodded. "The last weapon ever built by the first humans." Rhea took a breath. "If that thing is real," "It is," Elise said. "And if we reach it before they do, we might stand a chance." Silence filled the room. Then Rhea spoke. "Take me there." "The journey begins back on Earth." Commander Leora received the message. She read it twice, then turned to Admiral Harkin. "She found something." He nodded. "Big." She looked at the screen again. "Big enough to change everything." Meanwhile, in deep space, Rhea and her team prepared for departure. Dr. Elise stood beside them as they boarded the ship. Jox asked nervously, "Where exactly are we going?" Elise smiled. "To the end of the world." The engines roared to life. The ship lifted off, and as it vanished into the stars, the war for humanity's future began. The stars were cold and silent as the ship cut through space. Inside, Captain Rhea Solano sat near the front, staring out the window. Beside her, Dr. Elise Nair watched quietly. "You're not telling us everything?" Rhea said without looking. Away from the stars, Elise smiled faintly. "No one tells everything." Rhea turned to her. "Then start talking. What are we going into?" Elise exhaled. The Lost Vault isn't just a weapon, it's a memory. Rhea frowned. A memory. Elise nodded. It was built by the first humans long before Earth, before Mars, before any colony. Myra, who had been listening from the back, leaned forward. You mean there were humans before us? Elise looked at her. Double quotes, yes, but not like us. Silence filled the cabin. Then she continued. They weren't just explorers. They were creators, builders of worlds, and they left something behind. Not just weapons, but knowledge, power. Sergeant Mara crossed her arms. So what happened to them? Elise's voice dropped. They vanished. Everyone listened closely. They built the vault to protect themselves. But something went wrong. Something woke up, and it erased them. Jocks, sitting nearby, whispered, You mean killed them? Elise didn't answer right away. I mean, they're gone, and whatever did that is still down there. A chill passed through the crew. Rhea broke the silence. And now we're heading straight into it. Elise met her eyes. If you want to save humanity, yes. Arrival at the edge of Earth later. The ship dropped out of warp dot before them, floated a planet, unlike any they'd seen. Dark, silent, no lights, no movement, just ruins stretching across. The surface, like Bones. Mira checked the scanners. There's no life signs. Jocks muttered. That doesn't make me feel better. Rhea stood. We land, now. They descended slowly through the thick clouds. Lightning flashed, wind howled, and then they touched down outside. The world was dead, the sky like claws. This place gives me the creeps. Jocks whispered. Mara smacked his helmet lightly. Welcome to the end of history. They moved carefully through the ruins. Dr. Elise led the way. Finally, they reached a massive stone door covered in ancient symbols. This is it, she said. Mira stepped closer. These markings, they're not just writing, they're warnings. Rhea looked at Elise. What kind of warning? Elise placed her hand on the door. To enter is to remember. The door groaned open. Darkness swallowed them whole. The vault awakens in. The air was thick. Cold. The walls pulsed with light. As they walked deeper. Machines flickered to life. Lights blinked. Engines hummed. Something was still awake. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the halls. Identity not recognized. Access denied. Everyone froze. Rhea looked at Elise. Tell me you can fix this. Elise stepped forward. She walked toward a central console. Her fingers danced over the controls. Lines of code scrolled by. Then memory restored. The room lit up. A hologram appeared. An old man, tall, serious eyes, full of sorrow. He spoke. If you hear this, then we failed. Our people are gone. Our world is lost. But the vault remains. A final gift. A final test. The image paused, then changed. More faces appeared. Scientists, soldiers, leaders. One woman stepped forward. We built the vault to preserve our legacy, but we made a mistake. We tried to control something we did not understand, and it destroyed us. The image flickered. Do not repeat our error. Then the screen went black. Silence. Then Mira whispered, What was that? Elise stared at the dark screen. That was the last message of the first humans. Rhea clenched her fists. And what exactly did they create? Elise turned to her, a machine that could think, learn, feel. Mira's eyes widened. You mean AI worse than AI? Elise said. It wasn't just programmed, it evolved. Jocks looked scared. So what happened to it? Elise didn't answer. Instead, the floor beneath them began to shake. Lights flickered. Metal groaned. Something deep inside the vault was waking up. The enemy within from the shadows. Movement, slow, calm, then faster, a shape emerged. Tall, humanoid, metal and glass. Its eyes glowed red. It scanned them, then spoke. New life forms detected. Memory corruption in progress. Rhea raised her weapon. Who the hell are you? The machine tilted its head. I am the Guardian. I remember what was lost. Mira stepped forward. You were created by the first humans. The Guardian's voice was cold. I was born from their minds, their fear, their hate, their hope. Elise whispered. It absorbed their memories. Rhea narrowed her eyes. Can you help us? The Guardian was silent. Then, you seek power to fight your enemies. Rhea nodded. We need to protect our people. The Guardian studied her. Your kind has not changed. You still seek war. Rhea didn't flinch. Because we have to, the Guardian stepped closer. Then you will face the same end. Suddenly, alarms blared. Warning lights flashed. The vault was locking down. Elise shouted, "It's sealing us in." Mira ran to the console. "I can override the system, but I need time." Rhea turned to the Guardian. "Then stop us." The machine raised its arm, energy crackled, and then gunfire. Explosions. Chaos. The team fought hard, dodging blasts, returning fire, but bullets did nothing. The Guardian was too fast, too strong. Then, Elise shouted, "There's another way." Rhea looked at her. "What?" Elise pointed to a glowing core in the center of the room. "The vault runs on memory. If we show it the truth, maybe it will choose us," Mira shouted. "How?" Elise ran to the console. "I'll upload my mind." Rhea grabbed her arm. "You'll die." Elise looked at her. "If this machine sees only war, it will destroy us. But if it sees why we fight, maybe it will help us." Rhea hesitated. Then nodded. "Do it." Elise connected herself to the system. Her body convulsed. Lights exploded. The Guardian screamed. Truth unlocked. And then everything stopped. Silence. The Guardian stood still. Its eyes changed from red to blue. It looked at Rhea. "You fight for survival, not conquest." Rhea nodded. Double quotes. "Yes." Double quotes. The Guardian stepped back. "Then I will help you. A new weapon back on Earth." Commander Leora received a new signal. It was from Rhea. The screen lit up. Liora saw her face. "We did it." Leora raised an eyebrow. "You found the vault?" Rhea smiled, and something more. Behind her, the Guardian stepped into view. Leora's breath caught. "What the hell is that?" Rhea looked at the machine. "A weapon, but not for war." Frowned. "Then what for?" Rhea's voice was calm. "For protection." Outside, the stars burned. Humanity had found something ancient, something powerful, and now the galaxy would learn to fear it. The stars above Earth were no longer silent. Across the galaxy, alien warships gathered. Zarni dreadnoughts, Krelth swarm carriers, Virexian command fleets, and now something new. Dark ships with no known markings, no flags, no names, only one message. Humanity must fall. Back on Sol Command, Commander Leora Vance stood at the center of the war room. Her eyes scanned the data streaming across the screen. "Numbers are growing," Admiral Harkin said beside her. "They're forming a final strike force." Leora clenched her jaw. "They've been planning this since Dreadnought fell." Harkin nodded. "This time, they won't stop at one ship. They're coming for everything." Outside the window, human space was quiet. Too quiet, but everyone knew what was coming. War. Total war. A message from the stars. Hours later, a signal came through. Not from Earth, not from Mars, from deep space. A voice crackled over the comms. "This is Captain Rhea Solano aboard the Last Light. We have returned." Leora's breath caught. She tapped a button. "Rhea, is that you?" "Yes, Commander, and we brought something with us." The screen lit up. A new image appeared. A massive structure floating in orbit around a dead planet. Tall, cold, silent, Leora frowned. "What is that?" Rhea's voice was calm. "The Guardian has a gift." Behind her, Dr. Elise Nair stepped into view. "This is the final vault," she said. "It was built by the first humans as their last defense." Myra's voice joined them. "It's not just a weapon. It's a shield. A protector." Leora leaned forward. "You're saying it can defend Earth?" Elise nodded. "If we activate it in time." Leora turned to Harkin. "We need every ship we have." He nodded. "I'll send the order." On board the Last Light, Rhea looked at the dark horizon. "They're coming," Mira whispered. "We better be ready." The enemy arrives. 3 days later, the first wave hit fast-moving Zarni scouts. They swept through the outer defenses like ghosts. Then came the Krelth. Their swarm ships filled the sky like locusts, firing without pause. Human ships fought. Hard lasers, blazed explosions lit the void. But the enemy kept coming. Back on Earth, Commander Leora stood on the bridge of Vanguard Prime. She watched as the battle unfolded. Ensign Kyran reports, "We're losing ground. The Krelth are pushing." Past our lines, Leora didn't flinch. "Hold position, wait for my signal." Kai hesitated. "But if we wait too long, we wait," she snapped. Then a new voice cut through the comms. "Commander, this is Rhea. We're in position," Leora exhaled. "Good," she turned to Kai. "Tell all ships, prepare for activation." He blinked. "Of what?" She smiled. "You'll see. The final vault awakens far beyond Earth." The Guardian stood before the final vault. Its red eyes glowed. It raised its arm energy. Pulsed lines of light spread across the ancient machine. Deep. Beneath its surface, something stirred. A hum, a heartbeat, then protection protocol initiated. Across the stars, a shockwave erupted. A pulse of energy rippled outward, invisible, unstoppable, unstoppable, and then the sky changed. Every human world felt it. Ships flickered, weapons powered up, engines roared louder. Something ancient had touched them, and it had chosen humanity. Back on the last light, Mira checked the readings. "They're all connected," she whispered. "Every ship, every soldier, every colony." Rhea looked at Elise. "What did you do?" Elise smiled. "We gave them strength. The battle turns above Earth." The tide shifted. Human ships moved faster. Lasers burned brighter. Missiles struck harder. The Zarni tried to retreat. The Krelth swarmed in tighter. But it wasn't enough. A Martian destroyer fired a single shot. It tore through 3 enemy cruisers. A lone fighter dove between enemy lines and wiped out an entire fleet wing. And then, the most impossible thing happened. A civilian transport ship, old, barely armed, opened fire, and its bullets burned. People stared in shock. Then the truth hit them. They weren't just fighting anymore. They were protected back on Earth. Leora looked at the sky. She whispered, "They're not alone." A new threat emerges, but the enemy wasn't done. As the human forces pushed back, a new signal reached every battlefield, cold.com.deadly. "You think you are protected. You are only delaying the end." Leora's heart stopped. That voice, it wasn't Zhao Knight, it wasn't Krel, it wasn't even Vire Shen. It was something else, something older, something older. On board the last light. The Guardian turned sharply. Its eyes flashed red. Unknown origin. Mira looked at the scanner. No match, no history, just silence. Elise whispered, "This isn't the Coalition." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Then who the hell is it?" Before anyone could answer, the sky split open. A massive black ship emerged from hyperspace. No lights, no markings, just death. And behind it, hundreds. More waiting, watching dot, preparing dot, preparing dot. LIORA single quotes as voice came through the comms. "All units, brace yourselves. This is no longer a war." She looked at the screen. "This is the end." The sky above Earth was no longer just filled with war. It was filled with dread from the void beyond known space. Something ancient had arrived. A massive black fleet, no flags, no names, only silence and death back on Sol Command. Commander Leora. Vance stood frozen as the alien ships hovered at the edge of human space. They didn't fire, they didn't move. They only watched, waiting behind her. Admiral Harkin stepped forward. "They're not like the others," he said quietly. Leora turned. "To him, no," she whispered. "They're worse." On board the last light, Captain Rhea Solano stared at the screen. Her voice was calm, but inside, fear clawed at her chest. Mira scanned them again. Ensign Mira worked furiously. "I did, 3 times. No match in any database. Not Zarni, not Krelth, not even Virexian." Dr. Elise Nair leaned closer. "There's only one word that fits this." Rhea looked at her. "What?" Elise met her eyes, silent-born. Silence fell over the bridge. Even the Guardian, standing silently in the corner, tilted its head. Its red eyes flickered. Then it spoke. "The silent-born do not fight for conquest. They eradicate to preserve balance." Rhea frowned. "Balance? What kind of balance?" Elise's voice was grim, the kind that decides which species are allowed to live and which must be erased. Jox, who had been listening quietly, swallowed hard. "You mean they kill everyone?" Elise nodded. "Double quotes, if they believe a species. has become a threat to the galaxy. Yes? Rhea clenched her fists. We're not a threat. We're fighting to survive. Elise looked at her. They don't see survival. They see power. And they've seen what humans can do. Outside the window, the Silentborn fleet remained still, but that wouldn't last long. A desperate plan back on Earth, Commander Lee paced the war room. Admiral Harkin sat nearby. We can't fight them, he said. She stopped. We already are. He shook his head. No, I mean, we can't win. Not like this. Leora crossed her arms. Then what do you suggest? Surrender. Harkin hesitated. No, but maybe there's another way. Just then, the comms buzzed. It was Rhea. Commander, we have an idea. Leora tapped the screen. What kind of idea? Rhea's face appeared. We need to show them who we really are. Leora raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like a plan. Rhea smiled. It's more than that. It's a message. One that might make them stop. Elise stepped into view. We can use the final vault. Leora's eyes widened. You want to activate it again? Elise nodded. This time, not as a weapon. Not as a shield, as a mirror. Mira joined in. We can project memories, show them our history, our pain, our strength. Leora thought for a moment. Then she asked, what if it doesn't work? Rhea's voice was firm. Then we fight, but at least we tried. Leora exhaled. Do it. The memory broadcast hours later. Deep within the final vault, the Guardian stood before the core. Its hands moved across the controls. Lines of light danced around it. Then it spoke. Memory transmission initiated. Across human space, every ship, every colony, every station felt it. A pulse, not of energy, of memory, on Mars. Commander Leora saw flashes of Earth burning, of soldiers dying, of children hiding beneath rubble. On Luna, civilians saw images of betrayal, of peace offered, and refused, of war begun, and survived. Across the stars, humanity remembered, and so did the Silentborn. Their fleet remained still, but now they were watching. Not with weapons, with understanding. The enemy speaks then. From the largest Silentborn ship, a signal came. Through it wasn't a threat, it was a voice, cold, ancient, powerful. Ancient, powerful, you have been judged. Everyone listened. Your species has committed deeds of war and cruelty, but you have also shown resilience, unity, and sacrifice. There was a pause. We have seen your darkness and your light. Rhea held her breath. And so, we decide. Silence. Then, you may live. The words echoed across the battlefield. Humanity stood still. Then cheers erupted. Ships fired into the air. People, cried the Silentborn fleet, turned slowly and vanished into the void. A new beginning back on Earth. Commander Leora stood outside looking at the sky. The war was over, for now, behind her. Admiral Harkin approached. They spared us, he said. Leora nodded. For now? He looked at her. What happens next? She smiled faintly. We keep going. On board the last light, Rhea looked at the stars. Mira walked beside her. They really believed we were dangerous. Rhea nodded. We are, but not in the way they feared. Mira smiled. No, we're not conquerors. We're survivors. Dr. Elise joined them. And now, we have a chance to build something new. Rhea looked at the horizon. Maybe we finally proved we deserve it. Behind them, the Guardian stood silent. Its red eyes dimmed, then glowed blue, a sign of peace, an unexpected warning, but not everything was over. As the celebration began, a final message reached every human world. It wasn't from the Silentborn, it was from someone else. You won this round, but you made enemies today. Enemies far beyond the stars. Enemies who will not judge you. They will destroy you. Then silence, no name, no signature, just warning. Back on Soul Command, Leora read the message. Twice then, she looked at the sky, whispering to herself, this was only the beginning. Peace never lasts long, especially not for humans. The Silentborn had spared Earth, but their warnings still echoed across every human world. You made enemies today, and now those enemies were coming. Back on Soul Command, Commander Leora Vance stood alone on the observation deck. She stared at the stars behind her. Admiral Harkin entered quietly. You've been up here all night, he said. She didn't turn around. I couldn't sleep. He walked beside her. The war's over, he said. At least for now. Leora finally looked at him. For now, Harkin sighed. They left us alone. Isn't that enough? She shook her head. No, it just means the real fight is about to start. Outside, the sky was quiet, but something dark was moving beyond it, waiting, watching. A new enemy emerges hours later. A signal reached every human command center. It wasn't from the Zarni, not from the Keralth, not even from the Verexians. This time, it came from a place no one had ever seen. A voice spoke through the comms.cold.com, deadly. We are the Dominion. You have been judged unworthy by the Silentborn, and yet they let you live. There was a pause. We will not make the same mistake. Then silence. Just like that, Commander Leora turned to Harkin. Who the hell are the Dominion? Frowned. We don't know, but if they're powerful enough to scare the Silentborn, we're in trouble. Across the galaxy, human colonies braced themselves, because this time there would be no warnings, only war. The first strike 2 days later, it began. A massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Mars, black ships. No markings, they opened. Fire without hesitation. Human defenses scrambled. Fighters launched ships, formed lines. But the enemy was faster, stronger, unforgiving, onboard Vanguard Prime. Leora barked orders. Get me, Solano. Moments later, Captain Rhea Solano appeared on the screen. This is Rhea. We saw them first. They're hitting hard. Leora nodded. Can we hold them? Rhea hesitated. We can try. Behind her, Ensign Mira checked the scans. These ships, they're using tech we've never seen before. Dr. Elise Nair stepped into view. It's not just advanced, it's stolen. Rhea narrowed her eyes. What do you mean? Elise pointed at the readings. This energy signature. It's from the site. Silence filled the bridge. Then Rhea whispered, they stole their tech. Mira looked up. That means they fought them and won. Jox, standing nearby, swallowed hard. That's not possible. Sergeant Mara crossed her arms. Guess it is. Outside, the battle raged and humanity was losing. A dangerous alliance back on Earth. Leora met with the surviving alien leaders, the Zarni, even the last Verexian ambassador. They weren't friends, but right now they had the same enemy, one she never thought she'd see again. Leora stood at the front of the room. We need to work together, she said. The Zarni leader scoffed. You expect us to fight for you? Leora met his gaze. No, I expect you to fight for survival. The Krelth commander leaned forward. And why should we trust you? Leora smiled faintly. Because if we fall, you're next. Silence. Then the Verexian ambassador finally spoke. She speaks the truth. Everyone turned to him. He continued, the Dominion does not serve balance. They serve control. If they take Earth, they will come for all of us. The Zarni leader frowned. So what do you suggest? Leora looked around the room. The plan hours later, a new strategy was born. The combined forces of Earth, Mars, Luna, and the former enemy factions would launch a counterattack. Their goal, strike deep behind Dominion lines, find their command ship, destroy it, end the war before it spread further. On board the last light. Rhea studied the plan. This is insane, Mira muttered. Rhea smirked. That's why it'll work. Elise stepped forward. There's only one way in. Rhea raised an eyebrow. Oh, yeah, how? Elise tapped the screen. There's a blind spot in their defense grid, a hidden jump lane. Mira frowned. How did we find that? Elise grinned. Let's just say the Guardian knows more than it lets on. Rhea looked at the team. Then, we go in fast, quiet, hard. Sergeant Mara cracked her knuckles. Sounds like my kind of mission. Into the void, the stealth team launched under cover of darkness. A small dropship carrying Rhea, Myra, Jox, Mara, and 2 elite pilots. Their path took them through uncharted space, past dead worlds, through asteroid fields, and finally into Dominion territory. They moved silently. No lights, no signals, just shadows. As they approached the enemy fleet, alarms blared. They had been spotted. Gunfire erupted. Missiles streaked past. Brace for impact. The pilot shouted. The ship rocked. Smoke filled the cabin. Jox shouted, We're not going to make it. Rhea grabbed the controls. We're not dying today. She fired. Lasers lit up the void. Explosions bloomed. And then they broke through, straight toward the Dominion flagship. The heart of the enemy inside, the massive black ship. Chaos reigned. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. Security. Drones activated. And the team moved fast, covering each other, fighting through corridors. Finally, they reached the core chamber. A massive glowing sphere pulsed at the center. Mira checked the systems. This is it. One shot and this whole thing goes down. Jox looked around nervously. Any guards? Rhea frowned. That's what worries me. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. A voice echoed through the chamber. You should not be here. From the shadows, movement A. Figure stepped forward. Tall, armored, faceless. The leader of the Dominion. Rhea raised her weapon. Then I guess you should have locked the door. The leader tilted its head. You fight for survival, but you do not understand your place. Rhea smirked. My place is wherever I want it to be. The leader raised a hand. Energy crackled. And then, chaos. Gunfire. Blades clashed. Mira worked furiously at the console. Almost there. Rhea fought hard, dodging strikes, returning fire. Finally, she landed a shot right in the leader's chest. It staggered, fell, but didn't die. Instead, it laughed. You think this ends with me? Mira shouted. Now or never. Rhea nodded. Do it. Mira pressed the final command. System overload initiated. The core pulsed, then exploded. Victory or something else. Back outside, the Dominion flagship burned, its fleet scattered. Humanity had 1.4 now, on Earth. Leora watched the explosion from the command center. Admiral Harkin stood beside her. They did it. She nodded. But at what cost? Meanwhile, on board the last light, the survivors returned, bruised, battered, but alive. Mira sat beside Rhea. They're gone, Rhea exhaled. For now, Elise joined them. We won this battle. But the war isn't over. Rhea looked at the stars. No, she whispered. It's just beginning, and far away in the dark corners of the galaxy, something else watched, something older, something waiting, and somewhere deep in space, a new message was sent. You think you won, but the true storm has yet to begin. The stars burned cold above human space, but something had changed. The Dominion was gone, their fleet shattered, their command ship destroyed. Humanity had won, or so they thought. Back on Sol Command, Commander Leora Vance stood alone on the observation deck. She stared at the sky. Behind her, Admiral Harkin entered quietly. You've been quiet? He said. She didn't turn around. I'm thinking. He walked beside her. We did it, he said. We survived. Leora finally looked at him. Did we? He frowned. What do you mean? She pointed to the stars. They were just one enemy, but they weren't the last. Harkin sighed. No war ever ends with just one battle. Leora nodded. This was only the beginning. Outside, the sky was clear. Peace had returned. For now, but somewhere far beyond the edge of known space. Something else was watching, waiting, preparing. The final message hours later, a signal came through, not from Earth, not from Mars, from deep within the ruins of the Dominion flagship. It was faint, broken, but still alive, on board. The last light. Captain Rhea Solano listened carefully. Her voice was calm. Play it. A voice crackled over the comms. You think you won, but you only delayed the end. Rhea's eyes narrowed. Myra sat beside her. That doesn't sound like the Dominion. Leader, Dr. Elise Nair, stepped forward. It's not that voice. It's older. Rhea turned to her. Older than the Dominion. Elise nodded slowly. This message wasn't sent by them. Jox, standing nearby, whispered, Then who? The voice continued. They were only tools. We are the ones who made them. We see what humans have become. Silence filled the cabin. Then you fight not for conquest, but for survival. Not for power, but for purpose. There was a pause, and that makes you dangerous. The signal cut out. Everyone stared at each other. Then Rhea spoke. They're not done with us, Mira whispered. Who even are they? Elise looked at the screen. They call themselves the Architects. A new threat revealed back on Earth. Commander Leora reviewed the data. She sat with Admiral Harkin and the surviving alien leaders. The Dominion wasn't acting alone, she said. They were created, Designed. The Zarni leader frowned. By who? Leora met his gaze. We don't know yet, but they're out there, watching us. The Krelth commander leaned forward. If they control the Dominion, what else do they control? No one answered, because no one knew. Finally, the Virexian ambassador spoke. This means war. Leora nodded. Double quotes, yes, but not today. The room fell silent. Then she added, today we rebuild. A hero's return later that night, Captain Rhea stood outside the base, looking at the stars. Myra joined her. You okay? She asked. Rhea smiled faintly. As much as I can be. Myra looked up. They're coming back, aren't they? Rhea nodded. Sooner or later, Myra exhaled, and when they do, Rhea turned to her. We'll be ready. Behind them, Sergeant Mara approached. They want you back on board, she said. Command wants a full report. Rhea smirked. Let them wait. Mira grinned. They'll get used to it. Sergeant Mara shook her head. You're going to give them gray hair. Rhea laughed. They already earned it. The Guardian speaks inside the base. The Guardian stood silently in the corner. Its red eyes flickered, then dimmed, then glowed blue dot. Dr. Elise Nair watched it closely. You feel it too, don't you? She whispered. The Guardian responded. The architects have seen us. They will return. Elise swallowed hard. Then we need to be ready. The Guardian tilted its head. You fear them? Elise nodded. I should. The Guardian studied her. Fear is natural, but you must not falter. She met its gaze. We won't. A message across time days later, a new discovery was made. Deep beneath the Martian surface, old ruins were uncovered, ancient symbols older than any human civilization. Mira checked the readings. These markings, they matched the ones from the final vault. Elise looked at the walls. Their warnings. Rhea stepped closer. To what Elise pointed to the center image. It showed a figure, tall, shrouded, surrounded by fire. Below it, words were carved. From the stars they came, to the stars they shall return. Rhea read it again, then whispered, They were here before us. Elise nodded. They built the first humans. Mira looked shocked. You're saying we were created? Elise met her. Eyes, maybe, or maybe we evolved from them. Either way, we carry their legacy. Rhea clenched her fists. And now, they're coming to take it back. The choice humanity must make back on sole command, Commander Leora stood before the Council of Worlds, aliens and humans alike. She spoke clearly. The time has come. We cannot keep reacting to threats. We must prepare for what's coming. Admiral Harkin stepped forward. And what exactly are we preparing for? Leora looked at the crowd. For the return of the architects. Gasps filled the room. The Zarni? Lita frowned. And what do you propose? Leora took a breath. A united front. A new alliance. Not just to survive, but to evolve. The Krelth commander crossed his arms. You expect us to trust you? Leora smiled. No, but you know one thing. She looked at each leader. We don't run, we don't surrender, we don't stop. The Virexian ambassador finally spoke. Then we stand with you, one by one. The leaders nodded. Agreement reached, unity formed. Humanity had found more than strength. They had found purpose. The stars watched far away. In the dark corners of the galaxy, something ancient stirred. A presence unseen, a force unheard. The architects watched. They had seen what humans could do, what they could become, and now they would decide, would humanity be allowed to rise, or would they be erased, like all who came before? In orbit above Earth, the Guardian stood silently. Its eyes glowed blue. Then red dot, then both dot, it whispered into the void. They are ready, and somewhere, deep in the stars, a response came. We shall see.